Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Build a Week May. So, we are completely finished with houses, which I said in the title, the description, and in the video last week. But when I say we're finished with houses, I don't mean we're finished with builds, obviously. I mean we're finished with houses. So, this week, you might see behind me, there's a little bit of a field cleared out here. So I went ahead and cleared out all the trees, but my idea is this week, instead of building a house, we're gonna build a market, and I'm gonna put it right in here. We're gonna need lots of terraforming. This cannot stay, especially that part, but like we're gonna push this back a little bit so we can have a path to come in through here, which I'm gonna worry about next week. And then we need to do some terraforming to move this around and probably get rid of some of the other trees that are too close. But I have some ideas. First off, I want to have some big trees that slope over and kind of give this place a canopy so that it's a little bit darker in here. And then I'm going to fill this spot with market stalls. I'm going to pick up all this dirt on this side and push it back a little bit so that we have more space, and probably over here as well. And yeah, so that's kind of my idea. I'm hoping that the trees sloping over will give this place some nice atmosphere. And spoiler for next week, basically next week we're going to be doing the path and all of the environmental stuff, which is what looks so plain here right now. But I think that doing the tree this week is okay as well. Anyways, even though I would usually kind of consider that to be a next week thing, I think doing some trees as part of this build is alright. But yeah, I'm gonna get to work terraforming. I'm probably gonna time-lapse that. And I will see you when I'm finished with that. Alright, so I finished with my landscaping. We've cleared out a lot of space so that we can put stuff in here. I've pushed back this bit and this bit to give us space for a path to come through here later, which I'm actually not going to do this episode. And we've got our clearing. And also I got a little bit ahead of myself and I put down this wall to show where I want to put trees. So my idea is I want to have these semi-big trees that kind of like tower over and provide us a little bit of shade and a canopy to make this place feel a little bit more hidden. So yeah, and this tree design might be stolen for next week's episode as well a little bit, so that we can give stuff like here and over there, make this spot feel a bit more hidden as well. And yeah, alright, so the first thing I'm gonna do next is actually plot out the layout of this market area. Alright, step 1, we're laying out the market stalls. So we can have little stalls back there and they can just kind of line that area. Could probably have the same right here. We're just going to be putting little stalls, basically, like pop-up booths. And then we could have a little bit of like a flea market style thing going on in the middle here. Alright, so I want pathways to be at least 2 wide in every spot, which works right here. We've got a bit of a loop. This would be the entrance and exit. I'm gonna go look for some more reference photos on market stands in Minecraft, and then I will come back and try maybe doing some mock-ups in my Superflat world. Okay, so I ended up deciding to do a little bit more landscaping, and I pushed this back a little bit, or terraforming, I guess. I mean, like I said, I'm just gonna keep working on it a little bit. If I need more space, I'll push it back more. Not as happy with this shape. But nevertheless, I've got a little bit more space here that I can use for another stall that's maybe a little bit bigger. Have something like this, maybe. Yeah, I got a little distracted. Let's get into Superflat world, and then I'm gonna look at some market stall designs. Alright, so here we are back in my Superflat world, and let's just build a few market stalls and see what kind of things we like, and hopefully that'll give us some idea of what kind of sizes and shapes we're gonna want to use for this actual market when we put it into the world. Just to clarify, these are not necessarily going to be used, these exact models. I just want to look at some ideas and shapes first, and yeah, I would not include this in the video, but I think it might be interesting to see like my thought process with how we get the shapes out. Alright, so this is one design where we've got kind of these four corners with the posts, oops, that hold up a little bit of like a tent almost. It just shades it. I think this one's pretty cool. A little bit flat. It might be better if I did like mangrove and pale oak instead of spruce on the front, but so that's one design. Next up, we could try one that's a little bit more like a tent. So we'd have it like kind of like this wool bit is attached to this tent bit. I don't know about this one. You'd have to set up the table as well, like that. Maybe you could put stuff here. That's another design. I think I would like it better if we just did this, like we did in the last one, and then like that, so that there's, yeah. This one might also look better if it was taller. I don't know. Let's move on to the next design though. Alright, here's another idea. If we put down some pots. Wait, I kind of want to try the tent one, which is taller, maybe? See if that looks a little bit better. It already looks promising, just on its own without any of the other things. So, okay. That looks a lot better than my earlier one. I kind of like this idea, like, for the front bit here. And I kind of want to carry it over to make, like, something a little bit different. Let's try just making that real quick. Alright, so here's another design. We've got kind of the same... Let me just put this back. Got kind of the same concept as this one for the front bit, but we've moved it over and we've got just kind of a flat topped one. I think looks pretty cool. I also kind of want to do one that is even less like, I don't know, permanent, I guess? Because these ones all have like roofs and stuff. I kind of want to do one that's just a stand. Like genuinely takes like 10 minutes to set up and then they take it down like the next day. Yeah, we could just have like this one too. And we could have them have like a... like this on either side, but that's kind of it. Like there's no tent covering or anything. They've just got one little stand and a little spot for them to stand behind. I kind of want to try one also that it is... it's like one of those triangle pyramid shaped ones. Let me just do it. I'm not good at talking. Talking is not good. No talkie. I love, by the way that the pots fit into the fences. It looks cool. Okay, this is also a cute design. I might want to change, if I did this, I might want to change the top cover though. Maybe I could do like mangrove to have some red. And by the way, the red is just my example. I'm not actually going to use all red, obviously. Yeah. This is similar to this one, but I think this one's also cute, especially for a smaller stand. Alright, so if we were going to go about decorating these... Alright, so if I were to decorate these, it would probably look a little something like this. So this would be a shop selling plants. We'd have like a sign that says what kind of thing they're selling, and then we'll have like, I like that it's overgrown. so we can make them a little bit more whimsical, because this is a fairy market, obviously. And so, I mean, it's pretty cramped in here, but like, we've got some plants on the shelves and barrels for storage, which would theoretically have plants in them. Like, perfect. And then we've got like leaves growing on it and a spore blossom, stuff like this. It would be kind of small, but I'm trapped. But plenty of space to decorate a little bit and just give it that vibe that we want. So yeah, I think we can probably carry these ideas over, and then the bigger shops in the middle will obviously be just a little bit different from these ones because they're a little bit less pop-up-y. Alright, so I cleared out a little bit more space that way so that we have a little bit more space for booths here. And I moved this down, and I moved this down this way, and that way we can have a little bit more space this way as well. So, some of the booths will work here, the ones that we just worked on. Some of them will not. So the tent-looking one won't really work because it needs at least 5 spaces, and we only have 3 in each spot. Although I think, yeah, we have 4 here, but I don't think that's enough. So we might be able to do it, we might not. We'll have to look at it later. But yeah, this is going to be our basic layout, I think. Although, based on the 2 thing, we could probably actually move this out even one more. So actually, we do have space for it, but only in certain spots. So like right here, we could do 1. But yeah, this is going to be our basic layout. We've got our little marketplace. And yeah, my next thing, I think, is going to be getting all the little stalls in here, and then working on this, and then trees. So yeah, next basically is going to be getting all the little stalls in. So yeah. Alright, I'm going to do some of these stalls, and then I will come back and walk you through probably decorating them. But because we already basically built what I'm going to build here, I'm just going to fill them in these spots. And I will time-lapse that. Alright. Alright, I've got the outer ones in without decoration, and now I'm going to have to move on to this middle bit, but I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it just yet, so yeah. Alright, so I've got everything finished now, I think. I haven't done the interiors, so my plan was to do one with you, and then I'll do the rest of them, just fill them in, with probably another time lapse, but I don't know how well that will look, so we'll see. But yeah, so we've got our big main tent, structure, I don't know, and it's just got 2 stalls, so we've got one here and one here. We've got this big kind of pagoda looking thing. I think you could put stuff like on the shelves in here, maybe potentially something in the middle, but I thought it'd be cool to have one that you can walk into. And then we've got this corner tent thing that should have plenty of space for stuff on the counter. Same in here, except this one's not a corner, so we'll have plenty of space for stuff back there too. And then this last one, which we've got all 3 of these spots, and we could probably put stuff here, though. I wanted to make sure that all the tents you could get into, like if you wanted to, because, you know, if there was a storekeeper, they'd have to walk in and out and everything, so I left an opening there. Yeah. Oh, and then we've also got this last one, which doesn't have a back or sides or anything. I think this could be a concession stand for, like, food or something. I don't know, I just want to put something small up in the corner. But yeah, let's get to work on our interior things. I think I'm going to start with this one. Alright, so I think they could sell some crystals, so we're going to put some amethyst, like, in the back here, and then we'll also put a few crystals around, like this. I want to put some, like... Alright, so, like, if this was in use, we got some packed mud and coarse dirt to kind of make it look like people kind of, I don't know, walk back here and do stuff. I guess it makes sense to have, like, that. Yeah. I think we need some kind of light. Okay, I want to use some pots and potsherds because there's some that look like this. I have to get a crafting table out because you cannot craft in Creative Mode Inventory in Java Edition. So yeah, alright. We could put a few pots here too. And it kind of looks like they're, I don't want that one there. It kind of looks like they're labeled, almost. Like, with the contents are gonna be jewels and stuff. Like that. Okay. Alright, and then we'll dye it and glow ink it so that it shows up. And then we just got a little sign in the corner. And then we're selling a bunch of crystals. You can also put an item frame here and then invis it, but I think this is pretty good already. Alright, so basically we're doing the same thing for all of these. We're just gonna pick some sort of theme and then start putting a few things down and then moving on to the next tent. So I'm gonna get working on that and I will see you when it's done so we can do a little bit of a walkover or walkthrough, whatever. All right, dude, side note, I did not know you could do this. What the heck? Wait, that looks so cool. Okay, anyways. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I'm finished in here. There are a few booths that I'm really happy with and a couple that I'm not so much. But yeah, let's walk through and I'll show you exactly what I've done. So, first booth on... Oh, first up. I did do the path around and there's little bits of path inside the booths and yeah. Alright, so... First up, we've got an apple cider booth. I don't know if it really comes across, but I used the fire resist potion and an apple. I don't know. I thought it looked a bit like apple cider, and I thought it would be fun. So, yeah, got a bit of like a drink stand, and these kind of like cups. So I've just got them laid out a little bit, and yeah. All right. Next up, we've got this art stand. I think they're selling paintings or drawings or art of some kind. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. And then we've got like piles of stuff, just where I would imagine storekeepers keep extra stock, especially for these two booths because they don't have a ton of space for storing things. Next up, the crystals, which I did already, and I haven't really changed anything, so moving on. We have this candle shop. So we've got candles laid about on the ground, which maybe isn't so safe, but they're there anyways. And some pots over there that I think are for their storing things. Next, I've got a little bit of a plants booth, which is kind of leaking out a little bit. They've got some wildflowers that are growing out, and the moss is kind of... But yeah. And back here, we've just got some flower pots and stuff, and you can get through here. Yeah. Our next booth is going to be this bookshop. So we've got, oops, I didn't mean to leave that there. So we've got some books on the shelves, and in here we've got some books and lecterns, so you could maybe stop by, read a couple books, decide to buy some, and there's some on the table. And then also we've got this little storage area in between here. And then last up, This one I'm not so happy with. I couldn't really come up with anything to use a space for, so I might change it if I come up with something better. But we got like a sweet shop or like some kind of like baked goods or something. I don't know. This one's not super interesting, which sucks because I really like the way these stalls turned out in the end. But yeah. All right. So that is our whole market. Now, my idea for this place includes building some really giant trees that can kind of loop over the top and form a canopy and put I can have like lanterns and things. I don't have time for that this week. So I'm actually going to end off the episode here, and next week will just be a little bit longer, and this way I can get stuff edited to tomorrow and the next day before my family leaves for a couple days, and then I'll have a ton of extra time next week to get started on building those trees. So I will see you next week with finishing up this area and the rest of the areas over there. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe if you really liked it. Consider watching the rest of the series, and yeah, I will see you next week. Oh, as always, if you have any suggestions of any sort, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. See you next week. Bye!